Welcome back to Ep.3 of the Athletes Platform, where we put the athletes first and provide them a place to share their story, all while giving you the information you need to push yourself on and off the track. I'm your host, Aaron Booth, and today we have a very exciting guest. First two episodes, we saw two athletes who got to experience Tokyo on the track, and today we get to hear from someone who experienced Tokyo from behind the lens, Alisha Lovrich. You can head on over to Instagram and give Alisha a follow at Alisha Lovrich, as well as check out a whole lot more of her work at her website, alishalovrych.com. Alisha is a very well-known photographer in New Zealand who travelled to Tokyo with the Athletics New Zealand team to capture all the amazing moments. She also travelled with the team to the past two World Championships, as well as the 2018 Commonwealth Games. Alisha is a real go-getter and has created multiple opportunities for herself in the creative space by leveraging her skills, continuing to train as a pole vaulter, and by putting herself out there and networking. We chat about this throughout the episode, as well as how Alisha almost accidentally got into photography, what she's done to get herself ahead as a young creative, and how she's turned a hobby into a profession, all while continuing to remain in the sport of athletics. And just like the last two episodes, we could not have this conversation without talking about her Olympic experience. I was extremely motivated after this chat with Alisha, and it made me want to tackle any opportunity I got head on. And I think it will be very useful to athletes out there who are wondering how they can turn their skill and passion into a profession, as well as leveraging your involvement in sport to make opportunities for yourself in the future. I hope you enjoy episode 3 with Alisha Lovrich. Let's get into it. Firstly, just tell us how you got involved into photography. Like, where did that journey start for you?
So it's funny. I had no interest in photography growing up and anything. I was more so there's two pillars of my life.
Yeah.
I was ever since I could pick up a pencil or whatever. I was really into visual art and drawing. Like I would go extracurricular art school and stuff like that. So massive into the visual art, and then of course massive into the sport. I think I started doing sport when I was maybe 6, something like that.
Like any
playing
other
a variety
kid,
of sport.
really.
Yeah, exactly, and haven't stopped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I started playing sport and I didn't really stop. And I have a little brother as well, and so it got to the point where we would then end up doing the same sport, which helped my parents because it was like one location.
Yeah.
But also then we could play together.
Yeah.
So like my front yard was, honestly, our garage door has so many ball marks because we used to play cricket in the front yard, soccer in the front yard, horseback. It's not that big of a, every neighbor has had a ball in their house. So I definitely had that.
And your
growing up.
biggest rival as a kid is your sibling. So.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. Oh God, yes. And I mean, it's not like it's easy. No. You probably know. You just you want to smash like.
Yeah. Older sister, doesn't matter. Great. I'm still gonna give it to you.
Oh, totally. So that's always been a part of my life. And I went to pursue. I went on the art side for university. So I did a Bachelor of Graphic Design at AUT. Yeah. Wanting to go down the design illustration path. Like at school, I went completely visual art kind of media subjects. Like I got rid of science. I got rid of PE. I got rid of all of that, much to the disappointment of science and PE going, what? Like, I remember PE, they're going, why are you not doing PE? I was like, I train 6 days a week, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
I don't need to do this anymore.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need this. Like, I don't want to do, it was interesting because when I was going through school trying to decide what I want to do at uni, I actually wanted to break away from sport.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, like it's cool to have that, but I don't want everything. Like I definitely want to try expand my horizons and not just be in the sport world, because especially like growing up, it was interesting. Like I had everyone telling me there's not much work in sport.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have had the same, like there's not much,
especially
like
in New Zealand, it's small market and a small industry,
yeah,
really. Like
so
there's
small.
there may not be many opportunities in sport, so
No.
it's something you're trying
Yeah.
to consider. Is like, okay, if I go down the sport route, I
Yeah.
may not find what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So
Oh, 100%. To be fair, the design route's not much better.
yeah.
So I kind of went like, wow.
Yeah.
So I went there, and first year of design school at AUT, photography is compulsory.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for that, I would have never bought a camera.
Wow.
So first, did all my assignments at uni for first year, I'm pretty sure, were not sport based. Like I purposely tried to push, like, as a creative, you don't want to be boxed in, like you do want to push outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I think I was at school, I only ever did one assignment that was sport based.
Oh.
Maybe like year 12 design board, and everything else I really tried to push out creative. I tried to push out that mold, because outside of school, my whole life was sport.
Yeah.
And so I definitely was like, well, I don't want to be known as just that. Thinking in the back of my mind, like there's not much here, let's expand. And saying that, so I actually fell in love with photography when I was doing it at uni. It was just suddenly like my whole like learning. So the thing is with like, I call it 2D space with art, all the major principles, composition, design, design, color theory, line, everything. They translate across all 2D mediums. So like screens, like painting, like 3D is like spatial stuff, sculpture and stuff. So kind of like more your 2D space. So suddenly, like all the things that I have learned and ingrained in me my entire life were instant and combined on this medium. Like thanks to digital, everything, like, when you're painting, you got to paint the thing.
Yeah.
Whereas in photography, everything's in front of you and you just work what's in front of you and you use this tool to capture something. And so suddenly I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun.
This is easier than painting.
Yeah. Like I still draw as kind of like a mindfulness thing, kind of when I have time, or when I'm in lockdown or something. But like it's like suddenly like this art form, like you can create art almost more instantly and then develop it more like through editing and stuff like that. And then when it came to sport, I think 2013 Nationals was in Auckland. So that was the year. So 2012 was the uni year, and then of course it was the summer. I got injured as per usual, and and I think Auckland Champs before was the first time like I brought my camera to the track to take photos of you guys. And then chucked them off on Facebook, and it just went from there. Like I fell in love with photographing athletics. That's obviously the first thing I shot. Because it's like athletics is just gorgeous to shoot, because there's just all these lines, like the track and everything, and you've got all these different movements that athletes are doing. So it was like such a fun thing for me to do, and it's like my sport, so I'm going to be a bit biased to what I like to shoot. And from there it just
escalated. No, I like what you said about how you hadn't done photography until you're almost forced to do it. But then you said something before that, and it was, at university, you didn't want to do sport. You wanted to push yourself outside of that. And I think that's something I like to do. Like, a lot of things I do remain in the sporting realm, but I don't want to be like a specialist, I guess, in like one particular field. Like, I see myself more as a generalist, and I want to know how to do like lots of different things, because I feel like that's the way like the world's going almost, is you have to have like a foot in kind of everything. Specialize in some things and know where your skills are, but if you have an understanding of lots of the other areas, I think that's going to help in the long run. And I mean, you can kind of see that in your career, like you've done that, and now you can photograph athletics, hockey, you can go shoot at weddings. You've got a way broader market that you can target now, which I think is great. And then you touched on the whole opportunities in sports, and that was actually the next question, was like growing up, you obviously didn't know there was an opportunity to maybe go to the Olympics photographing,
Yeah.
photographing. But yeah, how, as you've been going through your career as a photographer, how have those opportunities changed? Not just for you, but like, what do you see for the industry? Or that might be a tricky question because
No, that's good. I like it. I think it's interesting. So with the work I do with athletics, I don't think there was ever a role
yeah,
that was there. But I didn't fill a role. It was almost
you made the role.
I think yeah. So there's like two things actually. Nothing, but there was firstly the photography work that kind of built up. So after I shot those nationals and Auckland champs, Athletics Auckland actually were like, hey, if you ever want to come down and photograph, our hot mates and stuff, you can. So that's probably why you saw that I was there. And they pretty much gave me access to do whatever I like.
Yeah.
So which is amazing. So I got to grow through there, and eventually Athletics New Zealand noticed me. And then of course, I don't know if you saw it, but in maybe 2014, my last project at uni, I did like a sketch animation on live, which killed me.
That was sick.
Never doing that again.
Can you can send that to me after this, and
I'll send it to you.
Put it in the notes because I do remember that was awesome.
Thank you. I was I remember being like, it was 1,000 or something drawings, and I was like, oh my god. But Athletics New Zealand actually saw that as well, and so then I suddenly saw that I can do more than one thing. So then I started doing more design work for athletics, really small. So with I think the key is though, when you want to get into something like this, is you almost got to treat your work like it's sport.
Yeah.
Like sport, nothing's going to be handed to you on the plate. You have to work for it. It's like I've treated my career the exact same way.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of like tried to build opportunities as they come. I know like my first, especially when like Olympic sports and stuff are reliant so much on funding. And so it started off real small, and then gradually my work with athletics just grew and grew and grew until it was like a massive thing.
Yeah.
And then of course being and then networking with your friends, like people know people, and that's gotten me into all these other avenues of photography. Like I do a lot of sport where it's the events, and whether it's for like the actual team or it's like PR reasons, marketing reasons, or I do a lot of sport commercial work as well. But then I've also networked myself out in the point where I feel like I photograph people. It's mainly people in their world. So I do a lot of corporate stuff, workplace stuff, weddings, other PR events. So it's kind of, that's how I've kind of built those opportunities, mainly is based on networking. It's just everyone's like connected.
Yeah.
But with the athletics, like so going to the Olympics, I think maybe after Rio, I did, because after Rio, I'd already started shooting for athletics, photography professionally. I did the nationals that year. That was my first nationals that I shot for Athletics New Zealand down in Dunedin. And then I did, I think, the Sir Graham Douglas when it was called Track Challenge.
Yeah.
That was maybe my first ever that year or something with them.
Yeah.
And it was kind of when I started working, like I was shooting the event and getting paid, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Suddenly something that I've been doing for a while just out of love has turned into a job.
Yeah. And which is cool
and then
to
I
see,
realized,
like you see someone working so hard for so long, just their goodwill basically, and then for them to actually be acknowledged for it and turn it into a career. That's awesome to see.
So grateful. And it was just, I think after that I realized, hey, I actually want to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so pretty much what I did is I continued all my other stuff, but another thing that I think we have to deal with at our age is kind of social pressure.
Yeah.
So out of uni, a lot of my friends just went straight into like a full-time job, which is fair, and kind of, working the 9 to 5 grind. And I realized, so I did, after my graphic design degree, I did a postgrad diploma in communications. I thought I wanted to go into that space, realized I didn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did that part-time. So because I was starting to grow my work with Athletics New Zealand, and then I was starting to grow other clients as well. So I part-timed my postgrad so I could continue to keep my foot in on the gas, rather than just disappear and then come back. When I was finishing that, I realized that if I want to really push my craft and kind of accelerate it, because that was like one cycle where I decided I'm going to go from here and then go to here. And like, as an athlete as well, like your guys' campaigns are what, 6 years? Like, so it's, so I only really gave myself 3 years. It's 3 years, because when you're getting your accreditations and everything, it's actually like before. So it's not a long time, and I had to then grow my skills from here to here, because they're not going to give passes to any Tom, Dick, and Harry. Exactly. And so I realized that, hey, I'm going to break out of this mold of going to work for someone, because I realized I need that time to work on my own craft, my own photography, and then eventually my own business. Because then it ended up becoming a full-time gig, which was fantastic. And just little things, like I would go networking, go meet people, talking to like local agencies, just getting myself out there in other sports, getting my name out there, making opportunities for myself. Like, it's one of those things, I didn't sit back and be like, hey, like you can't, it's the same as sport. Like, you can't do that. You have to really, if you're trying to make a team, and like a team sport like football, hockey,
that you deserve to be there, which is
exactly
the same as what you're doing in the photography world is.
And I'm a young as, like everyone else is way older. So like kind of coming in, but so in 2017, like when I realized like, okay, I'm serious about this, in 2017, World Champs was on in London. And I literally emailed my Athletes New Zealand boss, and I said, do you have an accreditation? Because IAAF, back then, they were called that back then, they gave out maybe like one per country, or some like US maybe got like 10. Like, it's based on population. So I asked like, do you have one of these? And they go, yes, we do, thinking like, we don't actually have budget for this. And I didn't care. I was like, don't worry about it. I just want that. I'll sort the rest out later. So I took that, applied for accreditation, got it. Then I emailed a local agency like, so I'm going to World Champs. You want stuff? And then they would just sell stuff on spec. So the amount I made versus the amount I spent, it was like a quarter-life crisis. I just dropped cash and went. But doing that proved myself that I could shoot at such a high event. Because essentially, as you know, it goes Olympics, World Champs. So it's kind of like, that's your second top event. And then that got my name out there, and everything just grew steadily from there.
And
went to Commonwealth Games.
That's what opened doors for you, I guess. Making that big leap of faith, I guess you could call it. But no, what you've said is almost, you spoke about how there were not a whole lot of opportunities, and you almost kind of said, screw it, I'm going to make my own opportunities. You touched on different things that us as athletes, we do on the sports field, and how easily that transferred into that. And you get told that all the time, like, sport, you learn all these skills that are transferable, and sometimes you're looking at it like, okay, but I don't see how I can apply that to what I want to do in the workforce or as a career. But you've really shown that, which I think is huge. And going out on a limb to just kind of say, hey, give me the accreditation, I'll get myself there. And
I drained my bank account.
But I mean, and that shows how much you love the sport, which I think is, I mean, that's really all you can ask for in what you're doing, is that you love it that much. That money's great, but if you're passionate about what you're doing, and like you can see that in the photos you take, which is
good.
It is good.
I'm glad. Oh, good. Well, I mean, you guys, like, all the time you're going on tours and stuff, and you fundraise for a tour, and you really want to compete at events, and you just do it. And I kind of saw it as like the same thing. And it was good decision. And at the same time, I'm going, well, I haven't traveled, so a good opportunity for me to travel. Here's my overseas experience. I'm going to go photograph a World Champs.
Not many people would choose that as their travel, but I mean, that's what we do when we're involved in sport and love it. It's
great.
No, that is wicked. That is really cool. So then you did touch on that. Now photography is your full-time
Yeah.
job, and you have set up a business. Can you talk about, you don't need to go super in depth, but what did you have to do to get yourself from just like a weekend photographer at athletics meets to actually setting up your own business? So like that's almost the realization and that turning point of, it's no longer just a hobby taking photos, like this is something, this is a profession.
Yeah, so it's kind of, that's like the biggest leap. So what I did is I always, like through uni, I always worked a part-time gig. So I worked at like a running shoe store, and then I changed to reception at a physio, and I always kept that going while I was studying, and then build my photography clients as I went. I think the major thing for me is I use, like, both those jobs, I have had photography work from those jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at Sports Lab in Grafton at physio, and I mean, if you met me, I just talk.
Yeah.
And so when I'm on reception, I just, like, if the client wants to talk, I will talk.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. And they love that, like, especially, you know, like it made a nice vibe.
Yeah.
And so I actually got quite a lot of work from clients just talking, oh, what do you do? I'm a photographer, stuff like that. And then that just grew from there. And it got to a point, and just something led to something. Like, New Zealand's so small.
Yeah.
It's like a massive, like, you know, we were talking about before, like, the sports world is really small.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get into, but once you're in, you're in.
Yeah. People
And then
are
I
going
also
to know
got
who
a
you
lot.
are.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And then I love training. Like, so interesting enough, I got criticized a lot when I was going through uni from peers or classmates or whatever, saying, like, you spend so much time training. And for me, I loved it. And I got all my assignments done.
Yeah.
And I felt like I learned more time management skills. So instead of, I don't know, like, these guys want to go out every night. No, I trained, you know, kind of thing like that. So I continued doing that. And we're the most amazing friends we've made in our sport. Like, it's so much more than just training, you know, like, it's like a lifestyle kind of thing. And I love that.
Yeah. If the people weren't there, like, I don't think I'd be doing it. Like,
what are you saying?
That's what gets me to the track most of the time, is I get to go hang out with these guys for 2 hours and probably spend another hour there just chatting afterwards, because what else am I going to do? Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And I used to, especially my last year of undergrad, I procrastinated. That's what people called it.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just go to the track and train. Yeah. Like, stretch, like, what? You know, kind of just like procrastinating,
no one
walking around.
For 3 hours.
Oh, so true. I'm going to foam roll here. Yeah. I'm going to catch up with someone at the cafe. Yeah. But interestingly enough, I think me being there a lot started to help as like a marketing thing or like a networking thing, because I work a lot for AU Team Millennia, and the joke of it is I work for so many people in that building. Yeah. And I think it was just because I don't know, see me out there training, and then there's only one, people talk, and then I just got passed around. I just all around there. So it's real interesting. So all like people going like, why do you train so much, was the best thing I've ever done. And I've actually realized, like, I'm still getting work based on the fact that I'm there. Yeah. Like, I'm still even just like passing on contacts, like little things, like an athlete's manager has this client. Yeah. An athlete knows me because she's my friend, because we train together.
So you get the job.
So and so then I've been manager. Yeah. And then suddenly I'm doing all this other stuff for other brands and other sports. Yeah. And then little things like you'll meet an athlete, you're doing all commercial work with them, and they train at Mish. Yeah. And straight away, like, we've never introduced each other, but we've seen each other. And it's like, hi, I'm Alisha. It's like, I think I've seen you in the gym. It's like, yes, you have, because I'm a pole vaulter and you've seen me doing something dumb. Yeah. But it's just like immediately that breaks that barrier. And so working with athletes, it's like, I find it so easy, because it's kind of like we can speak the same language and everything, and I'm like nice on set, you know, I'm not going to push them too hard. I can understand movements and everything. So like training my procrastination training was the best thing I did. And it's kind of like, it's your superpower. So a lot of time people go, say for example, you got two people and they got the same degree, same grades. How is that person different? And like yourself, like you're going into a job and there's someone who just, oh, I'm a decathlete. Yeah. Oh, I'm World Uni Games champion. Yeah. Drop it in there. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
this podcast is about you. It's not about me.
Sorry. But you know, like
Yeah.
it's that makes you different.
Yeah. No,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? So it's kind of it's like your little bit of a like string to your bow,
Yeah.
and yeah, you stand out. And then I don't know, people go like, well, if you can do this, you're obviously dedicated,
Yeah.
and it kind of like transfers over. So it's interesting.
You keep
Yeah, how everything's
yeah.
fallen into play.
You keep like jumping way ahead of me. Like I've got all these questions
Oh,
lined
sorry.
up, and every single one you just like you keep touching on the next
Oh,
question.
look.
But I mean, it's good. Like you're answering everything I'm wanting to try and get out of
Oh,
it.
good.
But yeah, like
I speak so much crap, so I'm
no,
sorry.
no, you're good. But yeah, like some of the things you've just said have been big things that I've taken away from my sport management master's program that I've just been doing.
Oh, sweet.
One of them is networking, and like as much as like I hate talking to people, and a lot of people just aren't comfortable with it, it does open doors, and you've
Oh, yeah.
basically shown that. Because yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
ask you like how you go about getting your brand out there, which is another big thing, is understanding what your brand is,
Yeah.
who it targets, and then almost how you pitch your brand to other people. And
Yeah.
you've basically just summed that up in, yeah, you spend your time at the track, you're showing your face, you're showing people that you're dedicated to what you do, but then, yeah, you're also around the place the whole time, constantly networking. And I think that's probably the way to get people more comfortable networking, is to not think about it as like, I'm going out to network with this person.
Yeah.
Like you're there just chatting with friends, basically.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then through that you're meeting other people, and then that there kind of breaks the ice, and it's no longer this is a serious business talk about, yeah, we're networking now.
Yeah.
It's more like, hey, I'm Alisha, I take photos.
Oh,
You want
totally.
photos taken? Sick. Let's have a chat about it. Instead of
Oh.
yeah.
All my work is come from.
Yeah. But no, I mean that's important things to know, is like, yeah, you get told to network, you get told to like sell yourself, sell your brand. But yeah, everything that you've just talked about is really, really getting that to the point, which is great. And then the other question another question I had was like, what sets you apart? And you've touched on it a little bit, but yeah, what do you think sets you apart as a sports photographer compared to, like you said, Tom, Dick, or Harry at the track who takes photos as well?
I don't know essentially what sets. Like, I kind of been asking myself this as well, because I kind of just everything I'm just writing away. But like a lot of work, like I know like people want to work with people they're gonna like working with.
Yeah.
So maybe it's because I'm not Dick.
That's nice.
Like,
yeah.
Like I constantly like, make friends with my clients and enjoy being like hanging out on set. And a lot of time, if I'm on set, like for a commercial gig for sport, the person is quite similar to us. And so you kind of like, I don't know, maybe because I build a rapport with people, like I'm not standoffish, so people feel they can come talk to me, I guess.
Yeah.
So
which makes it easier,
yeah, I think that might be it. And I know, because I'm a bit of an egg myself, like people like relax, like on set especially, like people relax a lot more because I'm just like, and it's just me. I think that helps too. And then a lot of time in, you know, commercial space, or like for example, like my video space, I am constantly running with my gimbal. Like there's so many jobs I'm on and I'm running with my bloody gimbal, which is so heavy. But I'm wondering if people, like a lot of people with jobs and stuff go, this is quite a physical job. Oh, Alicia's pole vault, she'll be fine. So I'm thinking I'm getting work based on the fact that it's known I'm still an athlete. So I did actually think about this, like I actually have to continue this until my body breaks, and hopefully by then I've built enough of a network that I don't need it.
You don't need to do the video stuff anymore.
Or like I don't need to do like the sport, like maybe like when I'm older, or I don't know, like who knows, knowing me, I'll probably hang around their masters, but
Yeah.
you know, like I don't, like me being and training as much as I do has created this image. And I think, I don't know, maybe I take, like, another thing that someone said to me, most time it's what people tell me, because I just do my art.
Yeah.
Right? When I'm taking photos, I'm doing my art and I'm talking to people. Like, it's so me. Like, I don't really think about it too much. Like, it's just real natural to me. But I think what people say is when I approach sporting events, whether it's like, depends what I'm shooting for, team or, you know, who knows,
Yeah.
I look at it as if I was an athlete. Like, I approach things as if I was an athlete.
Yeah.
Like, quite often I'm going, like, for example, like, I photographed All Black Sticks in Tokyo, and it took, I think, the journey could range between an hour and 2 hours to get there.
Yeah.
And so I use that time to get in the zone.
Yeah.
But that's kind of something you do as an athlete.
Yeah.
Like, I use that time, chuck my AirPods in, and kind of get in the zone so I'm present when I work.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't, like, you're in the game, like, you know, you're shooting a sport, you're in it, you have to anticipate movement, read movement, react to movement. Like, it's all like, you're in it. I think that's why I love it so much. And even no matter what you're shooting, it's the same thing. And even if you're, like, I just did a job with Lululemon before I came, and that stage, but you're still got to be in it, and you have to make decisions on the fly. Like, it's, you know, like, it's like sport. So I think maybe that's like my point of difference is, I don't know if it's, I guess if someone said it was obvious, then maybe.
Yeah. And I guess
if
you're photographing people, often they feed off like your energy as a photographer.
Oh, that's true.
Like, I find it, like, I hate having my photo taken, but if someone's just standing there like click click click, I just feel awkward. Like, I don't know what to do. But yeah, if someone's there being like, do this or do that. I mean, I haven't had many photo shoots, but it definitely makes it easier if like the person who's taking photos is more comfortable. And and then you said how using your sport and like your training, you understand that. So I mean, it's a good thing to continue to do both, like to continue to train, continue to take photos and stuff. But yeah, you talked about the hockey, so that will segue to the Olympics.
Cool.
That's sick. Like, going to the Olympics under any circumstance is awesome and is huge. So, big achievement. Talk about what it's like from behind the scenes.
Oh, I can't. Oh, there's so, honestly, like, photographing Olympics is just massive. Like, you're living, you wake up before your alarm because you're so hyped.
Yeah.
And so no wonder I slept for a whole week. Yeah. Because it's just this absolute, like, I can't even explain it. Like, I mean, it's just like, there's just this vibe of the Olympics. Like, I've been to, like, I know actually World Champs in London as well was like sold out crowds. Like, it was like a really similar vibe. Any of those things, it's just, the atmosphere is insane. And now going into the Olympics, knowing that there were no crowds, I was interested to see what the vibe was. But I think, the way they did the events, like, you didn't even notice that there were no crowds. Like, at athletics, like, teams were there. Like, it was like the support staff for each athlete. And then if you think about how many athletes are there competing at once, there's people there. It would actually, to be fair, it's probably really similar to like a New Zealand mate.
So all the Kiwis had practice at what it was going to be like.
Exactly.
Just
and then
times the stand and Mount Smart by like triple it, and then there we go.
Boom. Exactly. And so they did a great job as well with sound and everything. Because I know, like athletics was, like, the performances were insane. Like, you felt privileged to be there because we were the only people who could see it.
Yeah.
Like, so many world records, Olympic records, world leads. Like, it was just like, like, everything was happening, like, insane. I remember, so the women's 100 final, Olympic record, obviously.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time they did like a light show. They cut out the lights just before. And so that really, they did it in Doha, and it's so cool. It just completely sets the vibe. And I think because everyone thought Shelly Ann was going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so everyone's going, and that's this other thing, like, you're reading the play, like, I know, like stand 50 meters from the finish line. They're going to run through the finish line. That's where you're going to get your celebrations kind of thing.
Yeah.
Shoot on a little bit wider lens because so you can get both. But I remember you have like 2 seconds to figure out who it is because you can't really tell. And then you have to just react to that. And it was, so it's like world all-time number 2, isn't it? Like just like how fast that was and just like the whole race. And you're just absolutely fizzing that you saw it. But it's interesting because like athletics was just like I know some of the New Zealand Olympic team guys came and watched and like, is this what athletics is? I'm like, yes. Yeah. Yes. Like athletics is just absolute hype. But I know like when I went, the hockey was awesome too. Yeah. So I don't know what they did. They must have had, because they had their teams in the crowd, but there's only 2 teams, right? Yeah. So there's not many people. Like they had an amazing setup if it was packed with crowd. Like it's kind of gutting that like we couldn't do that, but I think they did stuff like they had pretty decent sound engineers, good DJ that allow the atmosphere to be there. And it's really interesting that like, so for example, like athletics is the same, athletics and hockey is the same, but in hockey you go out onto the turf. And so you wait to get in and half an hour before you get let into the field of play. Yeah. Which is actually that's quite a cool feeling when you walk into the field. Like, so you've got the stands outside of you and then you're actually on field of play. Yeah. Walking and you're outside, like you've got the barrier and you are right here. Like the amount of time balls hit that barrier and went straight up. Yeah. So, and I mean, I knew, like, I mean, any time, didn't happen, but any time there could be one that just goes over the fence and smacks you in the face.
But you've got the best seat in the house, so it's worth taking.
And you're right there. Oh gosh, yeah. You just react. There we go. Like, duck, so move. Then, but it's just amazing.
Do you said it's you talked about the 100 and you're bouncing between who's going to do it. Like, are you more nervous, or do you get nervous for like you're at the Olympics taking photos, like, and is there do you feel more of a pressure because these athletes are at the Olympics and you're the one responsible to get the photos for them? I guess if you're photographing New Zealand athletes, you know who you're taking a photo of no matter where the race is at, and so you've got your target. But do you get more worried or like more anxious that like, shit, I really need to make sure these photos are like top notch, or is it just like you've done it enough times that it's just another shoot for you?
I don't. Well, it's interesting. I did work a little bit for a UK agency for this stuff. Yeah. As well.
At the Olympics.
Yeah, just like last minute.
Yeah. So you had New Zealand and British athletes to like.
Yeah, or just general things. Like the guy, one of my friends that I met at these other world champs. Again, networking. Just messaged me out of the blue, like anything you want to like chuck in, just chuck in. Wow. To like a folder, and I was like, okay, cool. Including the 100 final, and and so they were stoked with those. But it's just, I think, it's interesting. So apparently, nervous energy and adrenaline is the same thing. Have you heard of that? Like it's like the same. So when it's not New Zealand,
because I mean, you feel nervous.
Yeah.
And like I yawn a lot, which I guess is I don't know, it's like a release of whatever. But it's like an adrenaline as well. Like the nervousness is an adrenaline.
Yeah, exactly. So when it's something like that in the depends who it is and depends what it is. Yeah. On how nervous that you get. And it's not nervous for the shot. Like it's one of those things like you know you can do it. Yeah. Like you just gotta do it. Yeah. Like it's not like, I guess it's the same when we compete and stuff. Like it's not like nervous. I don't go to jump and be like, I'm nervous of the jump. Yeah. At that. You just do it. So that's fine. It's more like you know how to shoot, you know how to react, you know how to use your camera, and you know that like what will be. Like, I guess like it's more nervous for the person you're shooting. Yeah. So there are times when you like a photographing event. Okay, so think of other people, not even Kiwis, like friends of other athletes that I've made overseas, like friends. You're nervous for them, or you have like a favorite athlete that you want to do well, and you're nervous for them. Like I remember every single one of us, so we were photographing like Alison Felix, the 400. We all wanted her to medal so bad.
Yeah.
And so we were all nervous because we all just want, that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But as a fan of the sport, and so that's the thing you're nervous about. And I think what I do is I harness that into my work, and I try project it as much as possible. I know some people go, if you're getting too into the sport, you can't shoot the same. I don't know, like I'm so thick into it. I feel like it helps me kind of just like grab those emotional things. So I don't really get too, like if it's nerves, it's more like excitement and adrenaline when there's a massive race. And then like 100, you're like, who's men's 100?
Yeah.
No idea who's. I was sitting going like, I don't know.
I
don't know who to
did
aim
call
for.
that before the race. I
Did you?
messaged Dad and said Jacobs is a dark horse. I think he might do it. And I even said, I said Curly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said
nice.
Curly will
Maybe
be
I
an
should message
outsider. Yeah. I didn't put any money on it, so I didn't get anything from it, but...
Maybe I should be like, because where I am, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
So sometimes, so we're the men's 100, all of us, like we're all in this position, and we actually watched the screen, because then you could see for that few seconds, and at the line, so when we're at the position we are, you can't tell.
Yeah.
And we're looking through a barrel, so I shoot with one eye open so I can try to see stuff, but I mean, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
And so I remember thinking like, we're all going, all right, let's shoot, but we have to react.
Yeah.
So once they cross, like they know, and you kind of keeping an eye on, so you just have to react to whoever, 200 final, Lyles and DeGrasse. I'm like, who's gonna have a good
opposite
start?
sides of the track.
Yep. And then so we watched up there, and then we kind of was like, okay, kind of going like make a call. Who's coming to the line quick? Okay, go.
Yeah.
He's won. And then you get there, and then you get his celebration coming through. But so I think there's a lot of excitement. Like I don't. Like that's not a high pressure thing for me.
Yeah.
So I think I just get really excited about it. However, shooting New Zealand team, photographing your friends at the biggest event, that's a whole nother playing field of nerves. Suddenly that pressure, so it's honestly like it changes from don't miss to like you have to get the shot.
Yeah.
And so it's like something I need to work on is separating that, because some things are out of your control. If you're stuck here in a spot, like you're not going to get that spot. But it's nervousness for your friends competing, and that's obviously like for us, like the whole team. Yeah. And so this time there wasn't as much access. So in other previous events, like you do have the option of going infield for one throw.
Right.
You have to make calls on like, do I do that? Do I not? And you're kind of going, oh my God, don't I? Whereas here, there was not much option, which helped because you're like, I have to go here. There's not much choice. Yeah. And I can go here or here. It's kind of same, kind of not, see what I can do from there. So that decision-making in the photos is kind of gone. Yeah. And you're like, all the nervousness that I experience when I'm photographing our team is for our team itself. Yeah. Like both shot puts, that last round, fourth throw, like, the person in fourth, that throw, not even my person, that's the most nerve-wracking throw of both of them. Yeah. Like you're sitting there going, I'm not shooting it. Yeah. Like, I don't need to shoot it. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going like, and we're trying to see the score, but like trying to see the scorecard, card, which is always blocked by TV, and then your app is always delayed. And so you're sitting there and you're trying to listen. Yeah. And you're trying to go, what was that throw? What was that throw? Yeah. Like that's the most nervous I get. I remember both of them, like Val was first, and that throw, I was like, oh my God, like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And then you're going, I don't actually know what that is. And then she's throwing, so you're like, I'm just going to shoot her, and she will know what it is. Yeah. And then getting her reaction. But it's interesting. Like, I just get so sucked in.
Yeah. So who's your favorite person you've ever photographed?
Oh my gosh. I tell you what, that USA 4x4 women's team was pretty like I remember thinking I was actually so nervous and so excited. So I messaged my friend who works for the team, and he's a track nut as well. And I was like, "Oi, are you coming tonight? Yeah. Like, what if Sydney passes to Allison? Like, it's like." And so for like a track nerd, like someone who both of those athletes are insane. And I kind of like we grew up. So I grew up through my years, like looking up to Alison Felix.
Yeah.
And then, so she's kind of like there. And then you got this like young gun who's just like insane.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and so for me, I remember being so excited, and I was going like, what's the order? I was trying to figure out a spot because I had an image in mind, and I'm like, if they pass to each other, I don't know which way, but in my mind, I was like, if Alison passes to Sydney, that's passing like the metaphorical baton.
Yeah.
Like you're passing from goat to goat.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so for me, I remember going into that, and so I'm friends with a lot of the American photographers as well. So that kind of turns into like, sometimes I feel like that's my second team just because of them. Like I hang out with them all day.
Yeah.
And naturally, and then I've met a whole bunch of athletes through them as well, which is amazing. And so I remember for that race, I think that was like a pretty big highlight just because of what it meant for the sport, and especially as a girl as well, like coming like kind of like having, you know, those like woman idols and stuff. And so I remember thinking around the track going, I want that shot. How the hell am I going to get it? Yeah. And I went around, so we had a little moat, and there was a moat spot at the finish line. So in the 4x4, if you second change and third change, you change. It's like your start zone is just before the finish line.
Yeah.
Again, I've run how many 4x4s?
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah.
And so I know, I was like, okay, they're going to be first. And so that's going to be the shot. Am I going to get blocked? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'll go back from the finish line, you know, kind of trying to figure that out. And I remember being on my phone. No one knew the order.
Yeah.
And then I was on my phone trying to look it up. And then I was on Instagram and came up, Team USA posted final order.
Yeah.
And it was like Sydney, Alison. I was like, and I left.
Yeah.
So I booted. This was made, I don't know how long before the final, but getting around the track is an absolute bitch.
Yeah.
So I like booted it around the moat, and then I went up into a high down, and then I said, all I want is that shot. I want a shot of Sydney passing to Alison just because of what it meant.
Yeah.
And then everything else, I was just like, just want that one shot just because what it means. I remember like witnessing that final was so awesome. Just it was like, I don't think we're going to see another team, you know, like all four of them. Oh, insane. And you've got like such young in the team, and oh my God, amazing. And so that was awesome. And then they came up to a point in the mix zone, and then me and my friend were hanging out there taking photos of ourselves in front of the track. And they came out, and I remember asking them, oh, like, may I get a picture? Again, nicely. I didn't bark at them like everyone else. And then they would, you know, I was like, and I got a photo of all of them kind of look at me, and I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. Like that interaction is something, I was like,
oh, that's so cool.
It's so awesome. Cool. And they are like, because they're insane. Like they're like,
especially
amazing.
As a fan
and
of the sport, like it's it's cool to do that and get such a nice, genuine response from them. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like, oh, bless.
Yeah. The final thing is advice. One piece of advice, short and sweet, to athletes. What is it?
One advice?
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
That's a given. That's a given.
That's it.
That you want that to be it?
I feel like, maybe I have two. I have don't be a dick and don't be afraid to combine all your worlds. Yeah. I think that's it.
Brilliant. Alisha, thank you. Thank you so much. No, that was a good chat.
No.
At the end of the episode, Alisha very kindly offered that any athlete who may have questions about the episode or maybe after some advice, please don't hesitate to reach out to her. Alisha Lovrich on Instagram. So thank you once again, Alisha, for coming on and sharing your story, as well as supporting what I'm trying to do here with the Athletes platform. And that's to create a community for athletes to feel comfortable, to reach out, ask for help, to push themselves further on and off the field. As I said, remember, jump on over to Instagram, Alisha Lovrich, give her a follow. While you're there, you may as well check out the Athletes Platform Instagram page, jump on the YouTube channel, jump on Facebook, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you're listening. Please comment your feedback. Feedback for me, questions you may have for guests, who you want on next. Please, this is how I'm going to make the show be tailored to you guys and give you what you want. Thank you for your support so far. This was episode 3, and we'll see you next week.